In this video, we're going to learn about voltage, current, and resistance, the three fundamental pillars of electricity. And finally, we'll see how these ideas are all connected through one powerful relationship, Ohm's law. Let's start with voltage and current.
Remember how we said that electrons repel each other? They really don't like being crowded together. So imagine we have two areas. Let's call them Area A and Area B. In Area A, the electrons are packed in tightly, bumping into each other like people crammed into an elevator during rush hour. They're not happy. There's a lot of electron pressure building up. Now over in Area B, things are much calmer. The electrons have more space to move around, so the pressure there is lower. If we connect these two areas with a conductor, something interesting happens. The electrons in Area A start to move toward Area B, from the crowded high-pressure side to the spacious low-pressure side. This movement happens because of that difference in electron pressure, and that's one of the most fundamental ideas in all of electronics. Pretty amazing, right? We've just discovered how to move electrons from one place to another. All we need to do is create a difference in electron pressure, then give those electrons a path, a conductor, to move through. That's the heart of how electricity flows.
Now consider this. As we discussed, when we connect two sides with different electron pressures using a conductor, the electrons naturally flow from the high-pressure side to the low-pressure side. In physics, this pressure difference has a name: voltage. Voltage is the push that drives electrons to move, the force behind electric flow. It's one of the most important ideas in all of electronics. When we control voltage, we control the flow of electrons. And once those electrons start moving because of that voltage, that movement is called an electric current. Now, here's the funny part. Since electrons are negatively charged, they actually flow in the negative direction. But we humans don't like negative things, so by convention, we simply call it a positive current flowing in the opposite direction. So whenever you hear current, just remember it's the positive way of describing the movement of those tiny negative electrons.
So now that we have a basic idea about voltage and current, let's talk about the battery. A battery has two sides, one positive and one negative. The negative side is packed with tightly crammed electrons, creating a lot of electron pressure. The positive side, on the other hand, has far fewer electrons, so the pressure there is much lower. This difference in electron pressure, also called potential difference, is what we know as the voltage of the battery. Because of this pressure difference, the electrons on the negative side are eager to move toward the positive side. It's just like a crowd of people trying to leave a packed room and move into a more spacious one.
Now, let's give those electrons a path to travel. If we connect the two sides of the battery with a conductor, the electrons start moving from the negative side to the positive side. Technically, this is a negative current because the electrons are negatively charged. But remember, we humans don't like negative things. So by convention, we simply say that the current flows from the positive side to the negative side, even though the electrons are moving the other way. Of course, there's no point in just letting electrons flow freely. We want them to do something useful. So let's connect a light bulb to our battery. Now we've got a complete circuit. The electrons are happy because they can finally move to a lower pressure area, and we're happy because their movement gives us light. It's a win-win. In electronics, that's exactly what we do. We apply an electron pressure difference, let the electrons move, and make them do some work along the way. Pretty clever, right?
You might be wondering, how long does this movement last? As electrons leave the negative side, its pressure slowly drops, while the positive side's pressure builds up. Eventually, both sides balance out, the voltage falls to zero, and that's when the battery is dead.
Now let's talk about current, the actual flow of electrons. We can define current by counting how many electrons pass through a conductor each second. If q coulombs of charge flow through a wire in t seconds, the current is simply the amount of charge divided by time. Or, spoken as a formula, current equals charge over time. 1 coulomb represents about 6.2 quintillion electrons. That's a 6 followed by 18 zeros. Pretty wild, right? The unit we use to measure current is the ampere, or simply amp. 1 ampere means 1 coulomb of charge flowing past a single point every second. So, to get a current of just 1 ampere, about 6.2 quintillion electrons have to zip through a single point in the wire every second. Can you even imagine that? It's almost impossible to picture. Yet that's what's happening inside every wire around you right now. It might sound enormous, and it is, but at the atomic scale, that's completely normal. The world of electrons is incredibly busy.
Now, how do we actually define voltage? Earlier, we talked about electron pressure, how electrons naturally move from areas of high pressure to low pressure. As they move, they can do work, like lighting a bulb or powering a motor. If that pressure difference is large, the electrons move with more force, and they can do more work along the way. If the difference is small, the push is weaker. The electrons drift more gently, and the amount of work they can do is smaller. So, the amount of work that moving charges can produce is a great way to measure how strong that pressure difference is. In other words, voltage tells us how much energy each unit of charge can deliver. If moving q coulombs through charge does W joules of work, we can define voltage like this. Voltage equals work divided by charge. Or, said aloud, V equals W over Q. That means 1 volt is the potential difference, the electron pressure difference, between 2 points in a circuit when 1 joule of work is done to move 1 coulomb of charge between them. Understanding voltage might seem tricky at first, but don't worry. Just revisit this idea a few times and it'll click. Once it does, you'll start to feel what voltage really means. It's not just a number, it's the energy behind every electrical push.
Now that we've built up some knowledge about electronics, let's talk about how we actually measure voltage and current. For example, how can we measure the voltage across this light bulb and the current flowing through it? To measure voltage, we use a device called a voltmeter. To check the voltage across a component, you connect the voltmeter in parallel, 1 lead on each side of the component, just like this. To measure current, we use an ammeter. Connecting an ammeter is a bit trickier than a voltmeter because current has to flow through it. So first, you disconnect the circuit path where you want to measure the current, then insert the ammeter in series to complete the circuit again, like this. These days, most people use a multimeter, which can measure voltage, current, and even resistance, all in one device. It's one of the most essential tools for anyone who wants to work with electronics.
Let's try a quick experiment. First, take a look at this simple circuit. The voltage here is 1.5 volts. That's about what you'd expect from a single alkaline battery. The current flowing through the circuit is around 100 milliamps, or 0.1 amps. Now, let's calculate the ratio between voltage and current. Voltage divided by current. Got it? Great. Let's plot that point on our voltage versus current graph. Now, let's add another battery to the circuit and measure again. Notice what happens. Both the voltage and the current increase. But when we calculate the ratio again, it's still the same, 15. Mark that new point on the graph. If we keep adding more batteries and recording the results, we'll get several points lined up in a perfect straight line. This straight line tells us something really important. The relationship between voltage and current is proportional. In simple terms, the number of electrons moving each second, that's the current, increases in direct proportion to the force pushing them. That's the voltage. Makes sense, right? The harder you push, the faster they flow. The slope, or gradient, of that line represents the ratio between voltage and current. That constant ratio is the key to one of the most fundamental relationships in all of electronics. Keep that in mind, because in just a moment, we'll uncover exactly what that means.
Now, let's compare two simple circuits. They're almost identical. The only difference is the type of light bulb we're using. If we repeat the same experiment with both circuits, here's what we find. Even though the voltage is the same, the current flowing through light bulb A is lower than the current through light bulb B. So what does that tell us? It means it's harder for electrons to move through bulb A than through bulb B. In other words, light bulb A offers more resistance to the flow of current than light bulb B.
This concept of electrical resistance is one of the most important ideas in electronics. Electrical resistance tells us how much a material opposes the flow of electric current. In other words, it measures how hard it is for electrons to move through something. If a voltage of V across 2 points in a circuit produces a current of I, we define the resistance between those points as R equals V divided by I. Put simply, resistance tells us how much pressure difference, or voltage, is needed to push a certain amount of electrons through a material. If we need a large voltage to get the same current, that means the material is offering more opposition. It has high resistance. If only a small voltage is enough, then the material has low resistance. This idea of electrical resistance was first introduced by George Simon Ohm, and to honor his work, we measure resistance in units called ohms, symbolized by the Greek letter omega. 1 ohm is defined as the resistance between 2 points in a circuit when a voltage of 1 volt causes a current of 1 ampere to flow between them.
The definition of resistance gives us a clear relationship between resistance, voltage, and current. These three quantities form the very foundation of electrical and electronic engineering. To honor Georg Simon Ohm, we call this relationship Ohm's law. Ohm's law can be expressed in 3 simple forms. This is one of the most fundamental laws in all of electronics. It's the key to understanding how electric circuits behave. According to Ohm's law, we can control voltage, current, or resistance by adjusting any 2 of them. Change one and the others respond. It's that simple and that powerful.
And that wraps up our look at voltage, current, resistance, and Ohm's law. If this video helped make electricity a little clearer, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Your support helps us keep creating clear, fun science content like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.